The NFL Combine released its invites today, and Nebraska made headlines by not having a single player accepted to go compete in Indianapolis to hopefully get drafted in late April. So in this video, I'm going to break down what does this mean for the Cornhuskers, who are some players who got snubbed, why did this happen, and everything else in between. So real quick, if you like the content, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps me out, along with subscribing to the channel. If you don't want to miss out any more Nebraska content this offseason, we're producing more Husker content than anybody else on Husker YouTube, so it would really help me out if you hit that button. But without further ado, let's just get into the news. So it was announced today at about noon who the NFL Combine invited to their process, again, there in Indianapolis, which will happen later this February. They invited 320 total players out of the players who declared for the draft, and Nebraska did not get anybody accepted to go compete. To put that in some more perspective, Nebraska and Northwestern were the only Big Ten programs to not be represented. Every other Big Ten program will at least have one or two players, most of them even with double-digit players there at the NFL draft. So, again, that really just tells you off the bat where we are as a program. Again, this is a rebuild. Matt Rhule inherited not a good situation. We knew this wasn't a good senior class, but I think this really puts that on a broader scale. Basically shows you, hey, none of these guys are even worth playing in the pros. But there are a couple guys who declared for Nebraska and who I believe got snubbed. Going over the four players who declared, who, again, have a legit chance of being drafted. You have Omar Brown, who I think was the biggest snub. A lot of outsiders, guys who are not Nebraska fans, were really dismayed to see that he didn't get an invite. He was one of the best players in the East-West Shrine Bowl that happened about a month ago. That was just a college bowl game. For players going to the NFL draft. He was one of the best players on defense, and he did not get a single invite. Quentin Newsome, who has been a leader on this secondary for the last couple of years for Nebraska, also not getting an invite. That was a player who Matt Rhule talked about in his press conferences and said, I expect him to get drafted fairly high. We're talking 4th, 5th, 6th round. He's a early day 3 guy. He did not get an invite. Billy Kemp did not get an invite along with Marcus Washington. So you may be asking, why is this even important? It makes it so much harder for an NFL prospect to actually get drafted if you don't go to the Combine. Every single scout from the NFL is there. All the general managers are there. Every single head coach is there. When you do not get an invite, nobody knows your name. It gets a lot harder to get recognition. By the way, every single test they have at the NFL Combine, whether that's the 40, whether that's the bench press or any other test they have to really see your athleticism and see your skill set, it's all computerized. So it has the official scores. They have lasers. Again, they know the official 40-yard dash. When you're doing your pro day, which is the second option for these guys, every single one of these dudes will be at Nebraska's pro day. It's not official time, so it's a lot harder. It's not as liable for NFL scouts to go off of. So again, you don't have as much recognition. Your testing doesn't mean as much. It's a lot harder to get drafted, especially when you're a guy like Omar Brown or Quentin Newsome. Heck, even Billy Kemp or Marcus Washington. Cornerbacks and safeties and wide receivers are some of the positions that need to go to the NFL Combine because you need to have your 40 tested. You need to see your strength, again, your acceleration. You need to have that tested because that's such a crucial part of your position. And the fact that they're not going to be there is going to be absolutely killer. So, again, we knew this wasn't a good senior class for Nebraska. But what hurts about it is that we figured that Matt Rhule might be able to turn around careers of a couple players. Again, guys who really haven't been too successful or, were really close to taking the next step and didn't do it. We thought that Matt Rhule had the ability to really turn around a couple of guys' careers and make a couple NFL players. Again, we thought Quinn Newsome might have went higher in this draft. We thought that Omar Brown might have been a lot better. We thought that MJ Sherman, who didn't even enter the draft, he's going to come back. We thought probably this time last year that he was going to be an NFL draft guy. And I can go on. Again, Thomas Fidone is a guy who was in his third year, who I remember Thomas Fidone used to tweet out that he was going to enter the 2024 NFL draft. Back when he was in high school, he used to tweet that out. And I'm sure he was being facetious, but I'm just saying these are players who are really talented, who had the opportunity to enter the NFL draft, and really Matt Rhule didn't get him there. So again, I'm not blaming Matt Rhule. It's a hard situation. He was only here for 1 year, but it is absolutely crucial for the Cornhuskers that you get some more players drafted next year because, again, I'm not going to say right now that it's a certainty that none of these guys are going to get drafted, but this is the first step to not getting a look. And I really don't expect any of them to get drafted now because of this. So it's absolutely crucial that next year when you have some more players enter the draft, they need to get drafted. They need to get drafted high, because that's something that kills your recruiting. Teams are going to peer recruit against you if they see that, oh, you only had one guy drafted. Oh, you had 0 guys drafted. They're going to peer recruit against you, say, hey, why are you going over to Nebraska? They had nobody drafted. Come over to Iowa. Come over to Wisconsin. Come over to Ohio State. We're going to send you to the league. You don't want to roll the dice with Nebraska. And that's what teams are going to start doing. That's what they did with Scott Frost. When Scott Frost broke our streak, we had the longest streak in all of college football of players drafted on consecutive years. Scott Frost broke that streak, and teams started peer recruiting against us because of the fact that apparently we couldn't send guys to the league. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't matter. Again, that's what teams are going to say, and they're going to run with it. So, again, it was not a great day for Nebraska. I expected Omar Brown to get an invite. Again, it really sucks for these guys that really worked hard, and I'm huge on loyalty. We're talking about Quentin Newsom. This is a guy who's been here his entire career. He could have transferred. He could have quit, but he stuck with this program. He decided to come back to school this year and give it another go, and the fact that he's probably not going to be rewarded because of it, it hurts me a little bit. It hurts my heart. It's not good for the program. The fact that he basically, again, he committed to this program. He was loyal over time, and he's not getting paid off because of it. That kind of sucks. But, again, not to be pessimistic or anything, I hope Quinn Newsom gets drafted. I know he's talented enough. And as for the other guys, Omar Brown, I think he deserves to get drafted. Billy Kemp, Marcus Washington, I don't expect to, but they should get UDFA looks. So, and this brings me to another point. Nebraska needs to win. It doesn't matter how talented these players are for the Cornhuskers. Again, I believe Omar Brown is talented. I believe Quentin Newsom is talented. I believe Marcus Washington is talented. It doesn't matter how great you are as a player. If you don't win, you're never going to get the recognition you deserve. Again, we say this time and time again when it comes to the Cornhuskers. We see guys have great games, and then the Big Ten doesn't represent them. They don't say they're the player of the week, or they don't give them an award at the end of the year, and we always complain about it. Well, the reason why is just because we didn't win games. We only won 4 games. We only won 5 games. So if Matt Rhule wants to fix this issue going forward, yes, you have got to win, and your players are going to get more looks, and NFL scouts are going to be more susceptible to want them on your team, and they're going to get drafted and they're going to get NFL Combine invites. So, again, that always goes back to winning. Winning is the fix for everything. You're going to hear me say that all the time. Again, you want to fix this? Win football games. Again, pretty big news today from Indianapolis, the fact that nobody from Nebraska ended up getting an invite. So, again, let me know what you think down below. Who was the biggest snub from Nebraska? What does this mean for their future careers? And what does it mean for Matt Rhule going forward? Does he need to have a guy drafted next year, maybe even in the top 3 rounds, to really prove that he can develop at a good level here at Nebraska, not only at Baylor or at Temple, but at Nebraska? So, again, let me know all of that down below. And as always, folks, please hit the like button. And subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss out on any more Nebraska content this offseason. But go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and see you in the next one.